Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have another pen here for review, and this pen is on loan to me from John at stjohnspens.com. So I'd like to thank John for the loan of this pen for review. This pen will be going back to John. It's a very special pen and I'll show you why. So first off, let's unbox this. So it comes with this sleeve and then you get this outer box. Now, if you know your Italian pens, this is a Montegrappa logo, and you'll see there Montegrappa. So if I unbox this, you will have quite a substantial, heavy box, and this is very spring loaded, and you can see that here right now. Now, if I open this box here, you'll see Montegrappa and a pen in a little bag. And this bag is normally what Montegrappa will ship their pens in. So let me just remove that for the time being. Let me remove the bed or false bed there. You get a Montegrappa cleaning cloth, and you also get a Montegrappa manual, or I guess it is a manual. It goes into the details of Montegrappa and also the various filling systems. And yeah, I just want to see, actually, I don't think this filling system is actually on this instruction booklet. But you can see there it gives about extended guarantees. So I'll put that back in the box and then I will show the pen. So the pen here, if I remove it from this bag, you do see it says Montegrappa there. It's always a nice touch from Montegrappa. And then you have this really, really lovely pen. Now, this is a Chatterley Luxuries exclusive pen. And this is called the Montegrappa Legacy Extra Grande. And it's the celluloid limited edition one. Now, the reason why this is special is that it actually contains 24 different rare celluloids, many of which are now completely sold out or almost gone. And this is a really, really beautiful celluloid. So there are 24 celluloids in this series, and I believe most of the pens are a limited edition run of 10. And if I can get this to focus here, you will see here it's number 4 of 10. So this is a very interesting pen. Now, this is just termed, I believe, the grey, but this is a beautiful, beautiful pen. It's very different to other Montegrappas, and I want to show the size difference against a Montegrappa Extra 1930. Now, the Extra 1930s are actually considered oversized pens. So you can see here that that is quite a difference in size. So I'll do another comparison, maybe with a Bartolomeo Ferracina that I have in my collection as well. So you can see there that the Bartolomeo Ferracina here in the shiny circles is actually quite a long pen, quite a girthy pen. So that actually shows how long this pen really is. Now, interestingly, you have here the Montegrappa logo, and it says here number 9, and you've got here the Montegrappa logo, and then you have this gem, and this is a gem. I don't actually know if this is a precious gem. I think it's just a colored gem to try and match the color of these pens. But this is actually quite a lovely touch. I've not seen this much on, to be honest, on many pens. Now, I say that this may not be a precious gem, but look at how that is shining. So, I don't know. I did look at the Chatterley Luxuries website, and I couldn't find any information about that gemstone. I'm sure it's probably not an expensive gem, but it adds a nice flaring touch to this pen, and I have to say, I do like the feel of that. I do like the look of that as well. So in terms of the pen, you've got your cap finial here, and it says 1912, which is what Montegrappa have on all of their pens, and that's the year that they were founded. You have a cap that is very reminiscent, I would say, a little bit of the Ottos. So it flares in a lot to the cap finial and flares out a lot to around about here and then onto the cap band. There is a bit of a step down that you can see there, and then you have this strange body. So this body is actually sectioned into two parts, and I'll show you why. And then you have, so you have a band here, you have another gold band. These are rose gold, and then you have what would be the filling knob, and then obviously the limited edition run there. So the interesting part of this, I'm going to show this now, is that if you unscrew the cap, you have a lovely Montegrappa number 8 size rose gold nib. And I do like this. This is an 18 karat gold nib. And you can see here the ebonite feed or feeder. Now, I'm just trying to look at the nib width. I'm not seeing the nib width there. Just going to try and bring it up to camera a little bit more just to see. But I'm not actually seeing that there unless I am missing it. Now, in terms of the filling mechanism, this is an interesting filling mechanism, and I'll show you why. It's not a piston and it's not a cartridge converter. But what you do is you unscrew the body here and you have a push pressurized sort of piston filling mechanism. So what you do here is you push down and it springs back. And that will, after 2 or 3 presses, will fill the entire body of this piston. Now, you cannot see the ink in the body, and I would say that that's pretty much the case of nearly, maybe even all of the Montegrappas I've actually seen before. So there is that downside to the Montegrappa, is that you don't know when it's either full or when it's empty. But that doesn't normally bother me, and if I am going to do a long writing session or if I'm away from a bottle of ink, then I will normally take some Penida pen fillers with me, and I will fill those up with ink, and then I will have ink on the go. Now, this is, because that is a sort of steel piston in there, that does make the pen quite back weighted. So I do find that this pen, even without the cap, is quite back weighted. Now, can I post the cap? It's celluloid. You can do. It will post down to this gold ring. I personally don't like posting caps. So for me, I would say this is not a pen that I would post. Certainly with celluloid as well. I don't want to mar the finish. But for me, this is a really nice pen. I do like the size and I do like the weight of this pen. So I think what we'll do is we'll do a size check, we'll do a weight comparison, and we'll do a pen comparison, and then we'll do a writing sample. So the full length of this pen, we are looking at about 149 millimeters in length, almost, I would say, 150 millimeters. Now, so let me just check the length of the cap before I unscrew that. We're looking about 59 millimeters in length. And then let's take a look at the full length of the pen. We are looking at about 139 millimeters in length. So this is a really long pen. It's not for somebody that has small hands. I think with that, let's go and do a weight check. So the full weight of this pen, uninked, we are looking at just under 64 grams. As I said, this is not a lightweight pen. The weight of the cap is just under 12.5 grams, so the cap is quite lightweight. And then the weight of the body, we are looking at just under 42 7 grams. So that in itself is quite a weighty pen, not just with the cap, but also the body as well. But this really is a stunning, stunning sort of chatoyance grey sort of pearl going on here. And then that gemstone here is really quite captivating. So I think with that, let's go into a comparison with other pens. So from left to right, we have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra in the wild. We have an Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra in the Arco Brown or Arco Bronze. We have another Armando Simone Club Bologna Extra in the Arco Verde. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. A Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in Shiny Circles. We have the Montegrappa Chatterley Luxuries, and this is the Legacy Extra Grande Celluloid Limited Edition in the grey. We have a Scribo Fill in the Verde Prato, a Sailor King of Pen Sakura Nagar, a Sailor King of Pen, and this is the Pro Gear Lucky Charm, and then we have a Tatcha Miyabi's Winter's Breath. So, I think let's go into a writing sample. So, this is the Montegrappa and it's the Chatterley Luxuries. And I'm going to run out of space, so I'm just going to put in here, so Chatterley, and this is the Legacy Extra Grande. Now, I did say that I wasn't quite sure what nib this was. Now, on this side of that nib, it does say an M for medium. So that is definitely a medium nib, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. Now, the ink in here today is Diamine, and it's Earl Grey, which honestly I think is a really great match for this pen. Now, in terms of line variation, let's take a look. I would say that this is probably a little bit more of a it's running out of ink. I just had to prime that piston a little bit. So I would say that this is probably more of a almost bordering on a fine nib without any pressure. If I add pressure, I'm getting, I would say, a medium line. And if I do more lines, you can see there's no hard starts or skips. I did have to prime that converter or the piston because I hadn't been writing with it for a few days, so that did need to be primed slightly because it was getting a little bit on the dry side. Now, in terms of ink wetness, let's take a look at this. Now, it is a little bit more on the dry side on the cross strokes. Now, that can sort of happen on a lot of nibs. I do typically find this on Montegrappa nibs that you find that the downstrokes tend to be a lot wetter. Now, in terms of can that be improved? Yes, it can. You can very easily floss the tines, and that will help make that white a little bit wetter. But typically, I find this with Montegrappa nibs a lot, that the downstrokes tend to be more wetter. And I normally typically, for myself, because I like a wet writing nib, I typically will tune those nibs a little bit more. It's just something to bear in mind when you come to a Montegrappa nib. I think a lot of manufacturers do prefer to have their nibs write a little bit more on the dry side, because it's a lot easier to make a nib write wetter if you want to have a wetter nib than it is to try and make a wet nib write drier. So from a manufacturer perspective, I think that's the reason why a lot of manufacturers make nibs to be more on the dry side than the wet side, because you can then write in notebooks without the need to having to wait to change pages. So what do I like and what do I not like about this pen? Well, I absolutely love this pen. I like Montegrappas. I have 2 Montegrappas, and I do want to add more Montegrappas to my collection. I absolutely like the rose gold trim on this. I really absolutely like the gemstone that we have in there as well. That just makes that pen sparkle even more. I love the chatoyance. The workmanship on this pen is really good. I can never fault the workmanship with Montegrappa. It's not to say that I can with other brands, but I typically find Montegrappa are closer to that 100% in terms of quality. Checking the pens over before they get shipped. The build quality, the workmanship are always really good with Montegrappa. You do pay a little bit more for that price though. However, I do think it's worth it. And I can honestly say this is a beautiful pen. So I'd like to again thank John from stjohnspens.com for loaning me this pen for review. If you want to check John out, you can check him out on stjohnspens.com or check him out on Instagram at stjohnspens. So again, I'd like to thank John for loaning this pen for review. Sadly and unfortunately, this pen will be going back to John. I'm not buying this pen. This was a special pen for John as well. So John will be receiving this pen back shortly. So that's my review of the Montegrappa Chatterley Luxuries Legacy Extra Grande in a medium 18-karat gold nib. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.